Hello and welcome to Back to School Night's video for IB World History. My name is Brenda McDonough and I'm here to talk about the course for seniors taking 20th Century World History, IB. So when you want information about what's going on in class, the best place to start is on Canvas. I update Canvas, I put all the grades in there, and you can get a link to my Google website, which is an extra website that I have as backup support basically for Canvas, and it has my email address. So if you can't access this video, which has it right here, bmcdonough@hbuhsd.edu, you can get it from Canvas as well. If you would prefer to leave a voicemail, you can call me at extension 4301. It's Ocean View's number. I'm pretty good at responding to email very quickly, so that's probably the best and most efficient way to contact me. Let me start by telling you a little bit about myself. So I've been at Ocean View, this is my 18th year, which is just crazy and insane how fast it's gone by. But I've been here my entire career. I student taught at Costa Mesa High, and then I got my first job at OV, and I've stayed because I love it so much. And I have a family. I'm married, and I have two kids. I have a 5-year-old little girl, and I have a almost 2-year-old, October 2nd, little boy named Hunter. My 5-year-old's named Ellie. And Ellie's just started at Hopeview this year as a kindergartner, and so that's where I am tonight at Back to School Night. I'm just trying to get from the Hopeview kindergarten back to school to Ocean View's back to school, which happens to be at the same time. Go back. So basically, IB World History is also called History of the Americas because that's the region that we focus on for the IB portion, for the IB exam. And so basically the difference between an IB class versus an AP class, because a lot of your students had me for AP World History, is that IB goes much slower and much more in depth versus AP, where we ran through 10,000 years of history as fast as possible. And so now we're just doing about 100 years of history for the entire year. So we're going into much more specifics on each unit. It's a lot more like a college course than a high school course because we don't have one textbook that gives us all the answers. We use a lot of primary and secondary readings, which is the typical college course. If you guys remember, you get a syllabus with a variety of books that you need to purchase or you need to read, or PDF files that you need to read, and that's what we do in IB as well. So it's basically exposing students to similar situations to what they're getting in college, but it's also at the high school level. So we study 4 major topics, which all appear on the IB exam in May. And just so you guys know, the IB exam in May is covering 2 years of history, not just this year. It's also covering the junior year of APUSH, AP US History. And in that course, they go into the Civil War, and the Civil War is on the History of the Americas exam, which is one of the days of the tests. And so we will go back and review the Civil War in April so that they're more refreshed and stuff that happened last year. And then a lot of other events overlap with the 20th century history we do. World War I, World War II, and the Cold War. They came from a U.S. perspective last year, and now this year we're adding an international perspective to the course. So back to the 4 topics. We study war. So we're doing World War I, World War II. And then with the war, we also do single party states, which is looking at authoritarian leaders like Hitler and Stalin and Mussolini during World War II. And then we'll also look at Fidel Castro in communist Cuba, which ties into the history of the Americas. So we do as much double dipping as possible where topics overlap. We can, prepare ourselves better for the exam. We also look at the move to global war. That's the new document-based part of the exam, where we'll be looking heavily into Japan in the 1930s, up to 1941, up to Pearl Harbor. And then we'll also be looking at the rise of Hitler in Germany and the end of Weimar Germany, and then the rise of Benito Mussolini in Italy and kind of comparing and contrasting the three, but really doing case studies of the three different countries and how they got to World War II. We will also be covering the Cold War, and that basically will be covering World War I to World War II first semester, and then second semester we'll pick up with the Cold War and move forward. Another unit that we do with the history of the Americas is the study of the Mexican Revolution, which also fits under the causes and practices and effects of war. So again, more double dipping, so as much as possible. And then us being so close to Mexico in California, it's a super interesting topic because the Mexican Revolution has carried Mexico very much into what's going on politically today. So we can make those connections. Where is Mexico today, politically, economically, and looking back at the revolution, that explains how they got to where they are today. So I kind of already explained this. There's 4 assessments. The first one is a documents-based exam, which they're used to taking from AP World History, AP US History. And if they're not used to that, it's something that we will be working on regularly around during the school year anyway. So they will get exposed to it all year long. So that's based on the move to global war, Japan, Hitler, Mussolini, and then we'll be looking at the causes, practices, and effects of war, authoritarian states, and Cold War for the 20th century world history component. And all 3 of the exam components that they take in May are essays. So they have to respond in both short answer and lengthy answers. So all of these are written assessments. There's no multiple choice test. So we do a lot of writing all year long to prepare for that. So on the 20th century world history exam, they will choose 2 questions from 2 different topics. We cover 3 of the topics on the exam, and they'll have an hour and 30 minutes to write. So that means they have 45 minutes per question. And then on the third part of the exam, the history of the Americas exam, it's similar to the previous exam. The paper 2 is what it's called. So this is paper 3. The open-ended essay exam, we will study 3 topics. There's 2 questions per topic, and so they can pick any 3 questions from the 3 topics. They don't have to pick from 2 different topics. They can pick 2 questions on the Mexican Revolution or 2 questions on the Civil War, and then 1 question on one of the other topics we study. And that's a 2.5-hour exam. So again, about 45 minutes per essay. And then we will also be working on an internal assessment, which is IB speak for a research paper. And it ends up being about 5 to 7 pages total. So it's really not that long in the scheme of things. Their extended essay is at least double the size of the internal assessment for history. All of the IB courses have internal assessments with due dates, anywhere during this school year. So ours is due at the beginning of second semester. So we'll be starting it right at the end of first semester. So the week before finals, we'll start working on it in class. And then when we come back from finals, for a couple weeks, we'll be doing that in class, just talking about how you do the research paper, looking at examples and writing it, and furthering research. We'll be doing more research as well during this course of the school year. So that will be supported all year long with both homework and in-class stuff. So that's about it. That's IB history in a nutshell. If you guys have any further questions, please feel free to contact me at my email address or give me a call. When you look at this screen right here, you have samples of some of the books that you should recognize from home. So this one right here is the one that they were checked out from the textbook room, talking about war. Kagan's book we read from for World War I, World War II, and the Cuban Missile Crisis. And then Adolfo Gili's book we read for the Mexican Revolution. So those are some of the books. There are lots. There are more, and then there are PDF files that I'll be sharing with them on Canvas. So welcome. Let me know if you have questions. I hope you have a good night. Thanks.